Hello, this is Dr. Jason Munsell. This is the second presidential site in one day. I'm now in Denison, Texas, at the birthplace, if you can see it behind me, of President Dwight Eisenhower. This was where he was born, back in the 19th century. This dude was old when he died. He died in 1969. He was president after Truman and before Kennedy. Actually survived, or was... well, obviously, not witnessed, but was at Kennedy's funeral and everything like that. The chapter, we're not covering this chapter per se, but there actually is a chapter in our second book on Eisenhower, and it's really pretty interesting. Again, it's going back to this idea of prudence, and they ultimately argue that he sort of failed in a way, because apparently the way he tried to be influential, way he tried to, for the most part, be a leader, was not necessarily using the bully pulpit, which is sort of what we use or talk about when we're talking about the president, having the pulpit, being able to talk to the masses of people. And he didn't do that so much. He had more private conversations with folks and tried to influence people that way. And so it's really interesting to see, his particular leadership choices and what the possible consequences were. And basically, again, the folks argue that he should have used the bully pulpit more so, and get out in the public a lot more so, in addition, I suppose, to his private conversations with various folks. There's actually the conclusion of that particular chapter is really pretty cool, and it shows how consequential leadership can possibly be in the first place. The chapter is chapter 8, the hidden hand, which is the private conversation versus the bully pulpit, the later political rhetoric of President Eisenhower. Basically, this is what they say at the end. I know you can read. I hope that you can read. But at the birthplace, let me talk about what they say about how Eisenhower failed as a president. Putting the missile gap controversy to rest, called for the bully pulpit, not the hidden hand. Therein Eisenhower was deficient. His rational mindset made him insensitive to the importance of emotion in the thinking of others. His habits of indirection made him ill-suited for presidential pedagogy, and he felt no need for historical vindication. As he wrote in his diary during the Taiwan Straits crisis in 1955, I have so often been through these periods of strain that I have become accustomed to the fact that most of the calamities that we anticipate never really occur. The result of Eisenhower's complacent approach was that John F. Kennedy entered the White House in 1961, pledged to close a non-existent missile gap. For that and others, Kennedy spawned a dangerous and costly arms race with the Soviet Union. As Eisenhower who did more to be publicly articulate might have prevented that outcome. It is impossible to know whether it was in Eisenhower's capacity to make better use of the presidential pulpit, but in retrospect, two possibilities come to mind. One would have been to make public such eloquent private communications as his letter to Simon in order to stimulate a more searching strategic debate than was possible by means of formal addresses and news conferences. The second would have been to capitalize in public on the great private persuasiveness that was abundantly evident in Eisenhower's interventions in the internal councils of his administration. One way this might have been accomplished is suggested by a media, is that a word? Performance on his part 3.5 years after he left the White House. On the eve of the 20th anniversary of D-Day, Eisenhower broadcast a 90-minute televised interview with Walter Cronkite on CBS. The interview, which was filmed on the Normandy beaches, conveyed a powerful sense of Eisenhower's force of personality and command of specifics. Above all, it dramatized his authoritativeness on matters of war and peace. The effectiveness of this display in Eisenhower's rhetorical capacity, I want him in the background as he looks over my shoulder. The effectiveness of this display of Eisenhower's rhetorical capacity in face-to-face settings is captured in the respectful language of a front-page account in the next day's New York Times. The terror-filled hours of D-Day were recalled with simple eloquence last night by Dwight D. Eisenhower. In an almost matter-of-fact voice, General Eisenhower recalled the fearful decision to go ahead with the landings on June 6, 1944, despite predictions of barely tolerable weather. The entire tone of the article made the power and persuasiveness of Eisenhower's presentation evident. It is highly plausible that some such dramatization of Eisenhower's authoritative views on the nation's security would have scotched claims that the nation's security depended on winning an arms race with the Soviet Union. If Eisenhower had prevailed, the Kennedy arms buildup might have been averted, and the post-Cold War world might have been preserved from its huge and perilous nuclear inheritance. In short, Eisenhower's failure to be persuasive about the missile gap had genuine political consequences. It would be difficult to imagine a more compelling demonstration of the importance of political rhetoric. He needed to get out there and persuade folks about things, and they say he didn't, which could have led to the Cold War or the proliferation of the Cold War. Rhetoric is important. Right, Dwight? Yeah. Yeah. Who says? Yeah. Never mind. Take care.